Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And I'll be honest with you, I've needed today's video because the weekend gave me a swift kick right in the crown jewels and I was in a huff, I was a wee bit moody. But as the days have went on and we've edged closer and closer to not only the game tomorrow but to having to sit here and talk about it today for the actual video, the more the excitement, the more the tension, the nerves is all kicked in. And now I'm ready to go, people, because somewhere, somehow, some way, we are 90 minutes away, a home 90 minutes away, by the way, from having an opportunity to knock Dortmund out of the latter stages of a European Cup competition. Not a sentence that many, if any, would have thought would have been sitting, been able to say a week on from when we filmed the last preview, having to go there away for him. But we're here, ladies and gentlemen, after a fantastic away performance in Europe. We have that chance. But the chance is there, and that's all you can ever ask for in a knockout game. So rolling into the actual topic of today's video, it's going to be slightly different than what we normally do for the preview video. It's not going to be a traditional style with the oppositional breakdown and everything, because we've done that last week. We've spoke about them in detail, and I'm not going to sit here and bore you on repeat the exact same thing. And now we've actually went ahead and saw them with our own eyes. We know what they bring to the table, we know where they're good, we know where they're weak, so to sit here and repeat it would be madness. So instead we're just going to be discussing a couple of updates from both sets of squads and how it sets up to be an unbelievable night tomorrow. And I think we'll start with the Dortmund side of things, just because I'm OCD. We normally start with the opposition. Let's talk about the biggest news that's coming out of this game, especially as it broke earlier on this morning, and that is of course the fact that Haaland will not be involved in this game. This was always the game that was kind of circled that they could potentially come back in, especially after the news of hearing him being involved in training the last couple of days and everything. It was building up to be Haaland's comeback party versus Rangers, but that is officially not the case, as his side has obviously travelled to Glasgow. He's not there. He's confirmed to be ruled out. So the big man will not be back to doing what he does best this week, and that is of course playing football. Well, that and being scared Calvin Bassey. Two things that goes hand in hand. But I've seen a lot of discussion about this Haaland decision and everything, because obviously he was involved in training, it was very well publicised and all that. The managers made the decision not to bring him along. Some people are saying it's disrespectful or anything like that, because they're obviously needing a couple of goals. They're not bringing their best striker just in case they need him. But for me, I didn't see it as a disrespectful type of thing, or that you're seeing a guy who's again just coming back for an injury, to throw him right back in would be quite madness, not only for this potential game if it blew up, but hurt him down the line for Dortmund. They need them. They're still in a title race and everything like that. So that's the way I look at it. I didn't see it as a disrespectful thing, or them looking down thinking they're going to win the game easy or that. Nothing like that for me. They just came back for injury, and I didn't think they want to throw him right into the deep end. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you or anything like that and be like, oh, I'm really gutted that Haaland's not going to be playing in this game. It's of course a massive boost for us as a football team, but also there is maybe a 1% of me that is disappointed that we'll not see one of the best players in the world grace the surface tomorrow at Ibrox. That's name isn't Joe Aribo. Joking and all that aside, I know there's so much clickbait how this drastically changes the tie or anything, but for me, it doesn't change anything. Despite Haaland being a fantastic player, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but he wasn't involved in the first leg anyway. It's not as if he played and then he's gone or anything. No, he's been away for a wee while. We still saw the talents, the technical players that they've got, the chances they can create, and the world-class finishes that they can provide. So for me, Haaland being out doesn't drastically change anything in this game, especially when you look at how Dortmund are playing without the laddie, because yes, they lost on Thursday to us, but how did they respond for that game? Well, unfortunately, people, they responded unbelievably as they came out and absolutely roasted the opposition on Sunday night, as they came away with a victory of 6-0, with Marco Reus, who had a wee bit of criticism based on his performance versus Rangers, well and truly answered his critics with a first ballot Hall of Fame performance, as he was involved in 5 of the 6 goals scored, with 2 of them being goals himself and the other 3 being assists. Because I know there's a lot in football that's uncertain, you can never guarantee anything, but when you look at this Dortmund side, the one thing that you're pretty much guaranteed 99.9% of the time is for them to get a goal and them to score, because you have to go all the way back to October the 19th for the last time that Dortmund failed to score in a game. So with or without Haaland, people, this is a team who's about to score goals. But we said that in last week's preview before the ball was kicked, and then you saw it during the actual game. Now, the last little things that I do want to touch on regarding the Dortmund set, because there has been a couple of wee tweaks and changes from the actual squad that we will actually face tomorrow. The first one going to be is the fact that Giovanni Reyna is officially ruled out. Now, normally I'd be sitting here making a wee joke with the link and everything, having a wee bit of fun with that, but he did pick up a serious injury, so there's going to be no joke or anything like that. He is ruled out, and that's obviously a boost again for Rangers, but a bit of a blow to Dortmund because he is so creative, he is so technical, and he's a very, very good player for them. But where they've lost Gio Reyna, they have returned and got back Mr. Wolf in the middle of the park, who adds some real bite, because you look at Gio Reyna, right, creative, skillful on the ball, very, very technical. You look at Wolf, and what he brings you is threat from range. He scored with his first shot since coming back for injury. And that's all really good to say about the Dortmund side. That's just your little update. Again, I'm not wanting to go into too much detail and bore you on, repeat the same stuff. This is a very, very difficult test, especially when you take away the away goal rule. The fact that this is 2 goals, which would normally be against pretty much anyone else and everything like that, you've got a 2-goal advantage going in to the second leg. You're smashing beers like Stone Cold, and you are loving life. But make no mistake about it, this will not be a cakewalk, and Dortmund are very, very confident to come into this game and come into your stadium and overturn just the 2-goal deficit that's currently in place. And that actually there gives me the perfect transition at the Rangers side of today's video, because there is actually a lot to talk about regarding Rangers and how we approach this game, especially going into the second leg. There's been a lot of discussion, we should do this, we should do that, so I wanted to take that in to today's video and see where everyone's heads are at regarding the old comment section below, because one very popular theory is we need to go part the bus style. We've got this 2-goal lead, nobody would ever have that anyway, we're at home, let the crowd be there and really, really sit off it and get and park in those trenches throughout the entire game of football. And I can understand why on paper that would make sense with a game with that 2-goal advantage at home, etc, etc, especially against a team like Dortmund who can hurt you at any moment. So on paper that makes complete and utter sense, but for me I actually think it's the exact opposite, and I genuinely think that could be the worst thing we could do, especially if we start the game off like that. It might actually come back to bite us in the you-know-what. If we start that game of football with our Kilmarnock pyjamas on and we're parting the bus and giving Dortmund space, Royce space, Jude Bellingham 15 yards a space, that could be for a very, very rough afternoon. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, people. I actually think the same way to beat Dortmund, or hurt Dortmund I should say, in this coming game for the second leg, is the same way we hurt them away from home. High press, going after them, no allowing them to have that space, and being brave enough to keep people up forward. Now again, some people will laugh at me and say I'm stupid and all that, but where are Dortmund weakest? Their defence, so why give them an easier game by sitting off and not testing them defensively? Because what did I say in last week's preview video? If you're brave enough and you go for it, you'll get a goal versus Dortmund. And the fact that we've already got 2 in the bank right now, if we can nick a goal or 2 in this game, which I imagine is going to be back and forth the entire game of football, that could make the complete and utter difference in whether or not we go through to the latter stages of the Europa League, or we end it right there tomorrow. So that's where I go in this one. I take the handbrake off. I didn't set off. I didn't give players like this 10-15 yards of space. I mean, if you go back to the Celtic game not too long ago, how much world beaters did they look with 10-15 yards of space? Well, now you're talking about world class players. Can you imagine the damage that they could do? I'm fine with parting the bus the last 10-15 minutes and everything, but for the full game they'll figure that out, they'll adjust, and they'll hurt us in my opinion. So I say we don't change anything, we go the exact way we did away from him, because they'll not be expecting us to be that brave again. So we might just catch some cold, and that might be the difference when it's all said and done, people. So that's where I'm sitting with that. Again, you didn't need to agree or anything like that, despite how passionately or that I'm about it. Again, I'm usually wrong about everything anyway, so let me know where you sit. Which approach do you think Rangers needs to do? Does it need to be overly cautious, or do you do what got you to the dance? And that's being brave, attacking them and showing that we've got quality and we've got talent as well. So I'm really interested to see where your minds are going with that one. So again, get involved if you don't mind. Now, whilst you're going ahead and do that, I'll transition into the Rangers team news and let you know about how the Rangers team looks coming in to this game, because again, we've touched on a couple of their key players that's missing or anything like that. What about Rangers? Well, there's a couple that I think will drastically change this game, and some that I don't think changes it too much. And I think we'll start with alert because, of course, we've got the news that Aaron Ramsey will not be involved in the game tomorrow, which maybe on paper again in your first instinct is a massive blow and everything, because we heard they missed Dundee United. We thought he was getting saved for this game, but the decision's been made not to bring him back in from a bench row because there was no way he was going to start. Anyway, the midfield three deserves to start given what they were able to do last week versus Dortmund. So he was never going to start, in my opinion, but he could have provided something off the bench. But I think maybe Gio's got the same mindset as the Dortmund manager with Haaland. Again, two completely different players, but players that's coming back or anything from a knock. And you're looking at this game, because it's no FIFA, it's no football manager. You didn't just throw the players back in when they're injured, just back from injury, and everything works perfect. That's just not the way it actually works. This is real life, and if you look at a game, could you think of a worse game possible to put in a player that's coming back for an injury in terms of the intensity? What Dortmund need to do in this game, they need to be full pelt. We're probably going to have to match their intensity and maybe even beat it in terms of your work rate. It genuinely couldn't be a worse game for two players coming back for knock. So both managers, to me, I completely understand. Something that I didn't quite understand, by the way, and again I touched on this not too long ago, is of course another player that is ruled out. And it's not to injury or anything like that, so don't worry, but is of course Haaland, Haalander, that's it. Very similar, one's better and the other one's Norwegian. But Haalander is of course ruled out because he's not in the Europa League squad. We touched on that when it was done. I thought that would come back to bite us, and again it might do coming into this game, even though he didn't cover himself in glory with the game at Dundee United. You know he's got quality in that aspect. So he's not involved, but again, it's not to injury. But someone who is back from injury and who will have a massive impact on a lot of people's squads and opinions going in to this game is, of course, Leon Balogun, who's confirmed himself alongside Giovanni as a part of the press conference that he is fit and ready to go if selected ahead of tomorrow. So that leaves us with a massive decision to make, because we saw how well Bassey and Barisic, Goldson and Tavernier played away from home. Do we then bring in big Balogun again, who's a more natural centre-back, and put Bassey where, again, for me, he's best is at the left-back role? That's going to be a massive discussion point. I can imagine there'll be a lot of different theories in that one, and for me, it's a very, very difficult one, because on your brain, you just go, just pick the exact same team. Let them go out there and do it. They're used to it now, blah, 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 blah. But it does make sense to go with a more natural centre-back, especially with what I imagine we'll be facing second leg, everybody going forward. I think just having his natural height and stature from set pieces might be vital. So I would actually bring Balogun back in if he is 100% and ready to go, and it's no wee bluff or anything like that. You bring in Balogun and you put Bassey at left-back. So that's how I would go. What about you? But before we wrap up the actual video, the last thing we need to discuss is, of course, the predictions. So let me hear it, people. What you thinking down in the comment section below? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What you thinking? Get involved. I'm going to go with the same scoreline as I've done for the first game, hoping it would also be another 4-2 win for Rangers. Let's play it that way. But I do think there will be goals for both sides in the game. I don't think Giovanni will put the handbrake on. I think he would have learned his lesson for Parkhead. That just Disney freaking working. When you jump up and you jump from that quality up to that quality, if you're giving them the same amount of space, it'll be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre out there, people. So I think we'll go for it. I think there'll be goals for both teams, back and forth, heart attack moments constantly, loads of grey hairs for me. But I'm going to go with 2-2. I'm going for 4 goals. Why no? People, cheeky wee score draw. That is how I'm seeing the game. What about you? Again, you know what to do if you want to get involved. But until tomorrow after the game, which I imagine will be about a 1 or 2 o'clock upload. If we go through, by the way, it might even be a 3 or 4 if I'm away streaking or anything like that. But no matter what the case, win, lose or draw, we'll of course see you tomorrow after the game. But until then, take care of yourselves, everyone. I've been Siege over 92. That's been Rocky. Wants to go his walk. All the best and bye bye.